here are the teams with the most picks to work with heading into next week in Cleveland. Traeger will be there on the ground. We'll be live with you guys Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's all very exciting. But let's talk about this squad. The Eagles lead the way with 11 picks, starting with the 12th overall. A whole bunch of teams with 10 picks over the 7 rounds. We're already seeing some moves made. There's plenty more to be made. We know it's coming. Dicey trades, teams needing a quarterback, guys slipping and guys going up to grab them. It's all going to happen. Which team needs to be the most aggressive in the 2021 NFL draft?
Now, aggressive, we originally look at, Kay, and we think, okay, who's going to go and trade up and go and get their guy and sacrifice those? I think it's hoarding mode with this draft and for a lot of these teams. And what do I mean by that? There's so little knowledge on a lot of these players. It's the first draft ever where we have players completely unavailable to have their film from 2020 because they sat out the season. It's the first year where we couldn't have scouts. We couldn't go to the combine. We couldn't do all these things. So a lot of it is throwing a dart at film from 2019 and trusting pro day workouts and just looking at a small sample size. So I look at the Eagles with 11 picks, and I want to bring that board up again because I think that's fascinating. Okay. Eagles have 11 draft picks, including the 12th overall pick right now. But if you look at this, over the next 2 years, the Eagles have 3 first-round picks set for next year if Carson Wentz plays 70% of the time. They have 2 second-round picks. To me, I think Howie Roseman and the Eagles, they know that this might not be the year where they trade up to go get someone. They trade back. I can see the Eagles being in complete hoarder mode.
So many picks.
And this guy just saying, you know what, next year, if the NFL is going to have a regular draft with a combine and a full college season and I've got my arsenal of scouts on the road, I'd much rather bank on next year's draft in the first round than this year's. So there's a chance that the Eagles could trade back out of 12. There was a rumor that they were going to move up to get like Kyle Pitts. I don't see that. I see the Eagles trading back. Hoarding and potentially having 4 first-round picks next year when they can actually scout and actually have a combine and actually be able to view these players in the same vacuum we used to be able to view them. This year is a true roll of the dice. And when we're talking about Trey Lance's pro day right now, he's played 1 game in the last 16 months, and we're talking about top 3 pick, this guy. That is how wild this draft is. Next year, I think it's going to go back to normal where it's the combine, the pro day, the visits, the pro day, all that stuff. I think the Eagles probably would be smart to trade back, try to collect more picks, and just hoard for next year.
Is this something Jeff Lurie's into, I wonder? And having Roseman be the guy making all those picks if they don't do it this year. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Do you think Howie Roseman's going to be in some house in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, just surrounded by picks? He has to dig a tunnel to get out of it and get to the bathroom and everything like that?
Pick lord.
Howie, get rid of these. No, I need all of these stuffed animals. More. I'm just going to go. I'm going to pick the fruit. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots because aggressive in free agency. Let's stay aggressive in the draft because what did we accomplish in free agency? I feel like they got a lot of side items. They got the garlic mashed and the cornbread and the beans. I still don't know what the main course is of this team. As of right now, it's Cam Newton. And let's be honest, that steak is a little tough. I just don't know if I like Jonnu Smith as much as the next guy. I like Nelson Aguilar's. They're good players. They're good parts. Who's the best player in this offense? When they line up week 1, 1st and 10 from the 25, if Cam Newton's not all, who's their star? I don't believe it's Cam.
Probably Jonnu. I mean, honestly.
I guess. Or is it like they do something like we drafted Najee Harris in the first round and he's our stud running back? Or is it we made a draft night trade for Jimmy Garoppolo and he's our quarterback now? And I just think that they added some really good parts, but that man is not about we're second in the division, we got the wild card. It's like we're going to the title game. That's what we do here. Maybe the Super Bowl. It seems to me that it is a really impressive plate with a lot of things on it. There's just the other foot is not dropped yet. There's something missing.
Historically, they trade back a lot. They don't really trade up that often.
Right.
Would you be shocked if they did trade next year's first-round pick to move up, say to 9, to get Justin Fields?
When I hear the word historically, all I think about is Tom Brady. Historically, they had Tom Brady. It was always fine. You were always throw that out the window. Historically, they don't do free agency like that. So, no, I would not be shocked, especially when we talk about, Mac Jones slips, people all Justin Fields this, trade. I feel like pounce. Like a cougar at pounce in the jungle. Or a Bengal tiger. That's right. The Bengals are set. Patriots have to put a lot of work. I think the Patriots might be the team that jumps. I do.
How about pounce like a jaguar?
Ooh.
Jacksonville. Ooh. I know just because they have the number 1 overall pick and it's Trevor Lawrence and we're like, oh, yeah, the Jacksonville Jags are going to be good. Yeah. They got Trevor Lawrence.
Hold on, though.
We forget how many picks they have. Tied for the most, I believe. They got the first, okay. Yeah. They have late in the first round at 25, I believe. And then they have 2 early second-round picks and then 3rd and 4th, and it goes on. So imagine if we already know what they're going to do with the first overall pick. And at 25, they land somebody special. You brought up, was it Terrence Marshall's name earlier in the show? What if they land that big target from LSU, a route runner come in right away and play? And then early in the second round, they can go offensive line. They can go tight end because there's some superstar tight ends that will go in the second. They can go Asante Samuel Jr., who's a Florida guy himself, went to Florida. So, like, you look at Florida State, so if you look at what they have in this draft, forget about Trevor Lawrence for a second. That's a foregone conclusion. If they nail the draft after that, this isn't just a team that's going to be good in a few years. This is a team that can be good right now. And you have a young nucleus of players that are all playing for very, very cheap.
All I keep
and
thinking
what have
is
we
Urban
talked
Meyer.
about? What have we talked about for a long time? What happens when you have a young quarterback on his rookie deal and you surround that guy with young
Gotta
talent?
win now.
And then occasionally you hit it in free agency every year.
Yes.
You bring in a strong vet. The last time we saw this team have success, they almost had that same type of blueprint. They brought in Calais Campbell, who was a vet. They paid him, and he made an immediate impact.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Jags, just keep your eye on them. It's one thing to have a lot of picks. It's another thing to actually nail the draft. And the Jags do that. Trust me when I say, a few weeks into the season, we'll be talking about these guys as a possible contender
Home
for the
playoff
playoffs.
game, you said.
That's it. For Trevor Lawrence hype to live up to the hype, with addition to his new head coach, home playoff game should not be out of the question.
That's a
Absolutely
fact.
I like that you're bringing the Jags on the map. That's
So
great.
much talent.
You mentioned, I'll bring up a team that I think is in the opposite position of everything you mentioned with the Patriots, a team that has the turkey, the steak, the surf and turf, the Ravens. They have Lamar Jackson. He's the guy. And I'm looking for the side dishes, the ones to help him out, because we're seeing all these teams. We're talking about the Dolphins at 6-18. They're going to go and help their quarterback, put him in the best position to succeed. And we don't even know what Tua is. You know what Lamar Jackson is. Get him some help. And they always are quiet. They were quiet in free agency, but they did watch Judon leave. He's now in New England. Yannick Ngakoue is no longer there. And they went out and did a deal for Sammy Watkins. I like to see Schrags, but he's not a true number one. I would like to see them make that happen, whether it's in the draft, sliding up just a couple spots. Where do they pick, 27?
27.
At 27, slide up and maybe make sure you can get Terrence Marshall. You talked about him earlier in their show. Get yourself a wide receiver or trade up significantly and secure your guy like Devonta Smith. Just get a wide receiver to help Lamar Jackson. Put him in position to succeed. It's his fourth year in the league, Schrags. I know this is counterintuitive, but we have seen the Ravens move around in the draft before. I would like to see them make this passing attack a little scarier.
I think Marshall's a great fit, and he might be there. I think 27th overall. They're loaded at defensive back. They've got pass rushers that they like. Like wide receiver, that fourth wide receiver might be that guy right there. And I think Marshall for them, a bigger body guy because they already have Hollywood Brown, who's your burner. Now Marshall's maybe a bigger, taller target. Makes sense. Bateman out of Minnesota can make sense too. The Ravens are really interesting in this draft because they usually hit home runs. The wide receiver position has been a challenge for them.
Don't you want to see the Ravens add and just take the leap, go to the next step?
They better. Because look at the jersey that I'm wearing right now. Cincinnati Bengals are coming, the Browns, the Steelers. You better. Like, there is no just treading water in the AFC North. You need weapons now.